I remember working with Randy Savage for his title in London. So the Mountie was over very strong in Europe, maybe because of the costume or something. But so I had some good times overseas in the UK.
One man you mentioned there, Randy Savage. Any kind of guys I talked to from your era were kind of saying that he never really switched off his character. Did you have that experience with him?
Sure did. Sure did. Yeah. He was that was the case. You know, and it's so funny because in 1978, I was traveling with him, with Angelo Poffo, his daddy, and Dutch Mantel in Nashville, Tennessee. We were wrestling Nick Goulas in 1978, and he was Randy Poffo, and he was the nicest guy in the world, the down to earth guy in the world. And then when I saw him back in WWF, it was like. I always come back to this story when I tell this story about him coming home after like a 25-day tour and being 3 days at home with Elizabeth, and he'd wake up the first morning that he was at home with Elizabeth, and she'd say, Randy, would you like for me to make you some eggs? And he'd go and say, oh yeah, and you know. he just forgot to turn it off there, but yeah, but he was a very moody guy also. Like he was one of the guys that he'd come in the dressing room one night and say, "How you doing, Randy? Hey, how you doing? How you doing?" And then I'd see him the next night, but I hadn't seen him since. And then I'd say, "How you doing, Randy?" He'd say, "Fuck off," you know, like okay, okay. Like, I guess today's a bad day, but he was very, very temperamental, very, and but then he wasn't the only one. You know, we all know that the grocery store was open to everybody, you know, in those days, and you could a lot of heavy on the steroids, and so the moods were very temperamental. The very few guys that I could say that were always down to earth